when Reader's Digest did a story about food banks, a committee was set up to see if something like that might happen in Lubbock. And I was the director of human relations for the city. About that time, Ray DeKemper said, well, I found a building that would work, but we must find a director. And Louise said, well, I think that Carolyn would do it. And I said, Louise, I'm really happy working with all of these people. And so she said, well, Carolyn, this would be a part-time job. I thought, well, okay, is there no one else? And Ray called me and he said, look, I'll pay your salary. And I said, well, I'll work for half since it's a part-time job. He bought this building, and we wrote a grant to the Davidson Foundation to buy a truck. And we went to the Davidson Foundation and they said, okay, we'll give you $6,000 on it, but it costs $12,000. So Ray said, well, I'll buy the front half of the truck and we'll let them buy the back half of the truck. Well, one of the first problems was getting rid of some of the wonderful products that we got. For instance, Frito-Lay would give us 40,000 pounds of potatoes. They would fry one potato, and if it was too brown, the sugar content was wrong. So they would send 40,000 pounds of potatoes here. And the phone rang, and it was a woman who said, my name is Alpha Campbell. I'm 88 years old. And Mrs. Campbell knows she talked like that. And she said, darling, I need a sweet potato. And I said, oh, Mrs. Campbell, I have 40,000 pounds of white potatoes, but I don't have any sweet potatoes. She said, darling, take my name and number. I'm praying for a sweet potato. My daddy always said eat a sweet potato every fall, and I haven't had one this whole year. But I hated to think about Mrs. Campbell praying to God and God looking bad. So I thought, okay, Gilbert Sanchez ran the dock for me here. And I came out and I said, Gilbert, I need to get my car out. So I'm going to go spend 15 cents and buy her one. He said, well, just a minute, I'll get your car. But in the meantime, a huge 18-wheeler was backing up. And Gilbert said, stop, Carolyn needs to get her car out. And this big, burly guy got out. He said, hell no. He said, if you don't want this, I'm taking it to the dump. Well, that scared me. So I said, wait, what have you got? And he threw the back of the truck up. And it was case after case, 42,000 pounds of sweet potatoes. And I ran back to the office and I called Mrs. Campbell. And I said, Mrs. Campbell, stop praying. We have just gotten 42,000 pounds of sweet potatoes and we had 40,000 pounds of white potatoes. She said, I hope they're little ones. I hate them big ones. And that's when I realized that God knows what size sweet potatoes you want. He may know how many hairs are on your head.